in an effort to combat stigma and promote Health Ministry of East African Affairs is drumming up HIV or AIDS awareness initiatives at the place of work. With World AIDS Day approaching, many companies are launching campaigns to raise awareness and encourage regular testing and supporting employees affected by the virus. These programs reflect a growing commitment to employee well-being, but also play a critical role in breaking down misconceptions and fostering inclusive, informed work environments. Also, quote unquote, we are going to crush him. Opposition leader Chiroma of President Biya ahead of elections made this statement. Presidential candidate for Cameroon's National Salvation Front, Issa Chiroma Bakari, said that he would crush incumbent President Paul Biya and all others as he addressed a rally on Sunday. We are going to crush all others, especially the CPDM candidate, because he is responsible for the situation we find ourselves in. I will never betray you, said Chiroma, as he told supporters who are cheering him on. It should be remembered that Paul Biya's daughter went on TikTok sometime last month, and the 27-year-old made a statement that her father has made many people suffer. Paul Biya, the current president of Cameroon, who is contesting to have the 8th term of ruling and leading Cameroon, is 92 years old. It's Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. I am with Robert Chiravo Nyonyintono. Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Julie.
Do you ever feel proud of being an African?
Yes, many times. Many times. I've never regretted being African, especially Ugandan.
I said African, not Ugandan.
Right. What makes me proud of being African? My texture, the rich culture of Africa, the authenticity of our culture. It's original.
Now let's go to the current affairs. When you see events, political events on the African continent.
Well, politically I'm not proud. Politically, no, I'm not proud. It's embarrassing.
Well, sometimes when I remember the great men we study about who did much for Africa, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, if they today looked at Africa, I don't know if they'll be very proud of Africa or not. But that said, yesterday business downtown was not that very good. Many traders, water entered their businesses. They registered a lot of losses. It is alleged that this could be on the construction of a 10-kilometer Nachivubo, that is drainage channel, that could have caused this problem. Now, one of the things that I find very difficult to understand or deal with is some of these incidents that cause losses to Ugandans.
All right.
Ugandans, most so people down Chikubo, downtown, when we have downpours, leave alone this one that just happened, you see the losses they encounter. And some lose a lot of their merchandise. But all they have to do is put themselves back. Remember, many of these are not insured. Like yesterday, I saw over 200 bags floating. Now, you wonder this business person who imported these bags, paid URA, pays rent, pays the license, again goes and pays garbage, plus all that they're paid. And at the end of the day, they're incurring such losses. We sympathize with you, we stand with you, and we pray that sooner than later, this will come to an end.
And I think the best way for it to stand with someone is through action. I'm not so sure if Ham Chigundu, who is responsible for the project, has a plan or something, I don't know. At least maybe speak to give some hope, give some form of hope.
We hope when the drainage channel is done, that will no longer be, but during the construction, so much losses were encountered.
Anyways, sad indeed, but let's take a trip to what we have on the local scene today, Robert.
We'll begin with campaigns. That is the thing. Now, police in Ramanje, Kamwenge district, blocked the presidential candidate for FDC, Nathan Nandala Mafabi, from campaigning inside Ramanja Central Market, claiming that holding rallies in the market is not on their program. While addressing vendors who were peeping through the perimeter wall, Mafabi attributed the anger exhibited by police to poor living conditions. The president of the National Unity Platform, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, held one of his biggest rally in Mityana district ever since he started campaigning, despite a few pockets of inconveniences between his supporters and police along the way to the designated venue. In his speech, Kyagulanyi appealed to supporters to maintain peace, observe electoral regulations, and vote for truth and justice on the polling day. Kyagulanyi also promised better service delivery in the health, education, and road infrastructure. The Alliance for National Transformation officially launched its presidential fundraising drive in western Uganda, marking a significant step towards mobilizing supporters for General Mugicha Muntu's candidature. Presidential fundraising drive campaign aims to engage supporters and encourage them. The NRM Secretariat has watered down a section of public talk which is shifting attention from a wider perspective of candidate Yoweri Museveni's successful campaign trail. The claim drew derogatory attention of learners coming in to listen to the head of state. Addressing media in Lila City, the NRM Secretariat maintains that there is no evidence of ferrying students to rallies, although there is no breach of guidelines if learners choose to be part of their country's electoral process. Police have released a report for the first week of the presidential campaigns on operations. Police advised campaign organizing committees for all presidential candidates to share their schedules with security agencies for proper planning and coordination. Police have accused sections of the media of biased reporting, alleging that some media houses have taken on an activist role and are concealing incidents occurring in some presidential candidates' camps. The public has been cautioned against comparing the policing of other presidential candidates to that of the incumbent Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who, as head of state, is accorded immunity. Police have investigations revealing that the launch into allegations of officers campaigning for certain presidential candidates, which violates the electoral rules. Meanwhile, police deny having information on the disappearance of two Kenyan activists allegedly in Uganda to campaign for National Unity Platform candidate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. The two activists, Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyoro, are reported to have entered Uganda via Busia and participated in Kyagulanyi's rally in Busoga sub-region, then later went missing in Kampala, and their whereabouts remain unknown. Severe flooding caused by torrential rains left Kampala's downtown submerged in deep waters following construction of a 10-kilometer navigable drainage channel where city tycoon Hamis Chigundu is the owner of the channel. However, no death has been reported, but property worth millions of shillings destroyed along and affected many people along Chisenyi Lane. The heavy rains, which began around 2:30 p.m. local time, triggered flooding in several areas of Kampala, cutting off roads and paralyzing transportation and business activities. The Uganda Meteorological Service warned of intensified rainfall across several parts of the East African nation during the current rainy season, which could result in disaster such as floods, landslides, and lightning, potentially leading to loss of lives. While the 10-kilometer navigable drainage channel is being constructed by Mr. Chigundu, not he owns the channel.
Indeed, I was about to ask, he owns since when?
It's just constructed.
Did he become the owner of a public property? But thank you for that correction. Indeed. Now let's have a quick look at what is on the foreign scene, and we're starting off with matters Gaza. Indirect talks aimed at reaching a final agreement on a U.S. peace plan to end the war in Gaza are set to continue on Tuesday in the Egyptian city of Sharm el-Sheikh. Palestinian and Egyptian officials have told the BBC that the sessions are focused on creating the field conditions for a possible exchange that would see the release of all Israeli hostages in return for a number of Palestinian prisoners. Israel's Prime Minister said on Saturday that he hoped to announce the release of hostages in the coming days. As the officials met on Monday, U.S. President told the reporters at the White House, quote unquote, "We have a really good chance of making a deal, and it will be a lasting deal." Hamas has said it agrees to the peace plan proposals in part, but has not responded to several key demands, including its disarmament and not having any future role in the governance of Gaza. The second day of the talks, which will see Egyptian and Qatari officials holding shuttle meetings with delegations from both Israel and Hamas separately, will be taking place on the second anniversary of the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on 7th October 2023, in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage, which makes it today. Now, moving on, police say they have dismantled an international gang suspected of smuggling up to 40,000 stolen mobile phones from the UK to China in the last year. In what the Metropolitan Police says is the UK's largest ever operation against phone thefts, 18 suspects have been arrested and more than 2,000 stolen devices discovered. Police believe the gang could be responsible for exporting up to half of all phones stolen in London, where most mobiles are taken in the UK. BBC News has been given access to the operation, including details of the suspects, their methods, and to dawn raids on 28 properties in London and Hertfordshire. The investigation was triggered after a victim traced a stolen phone last year. Quote unquote, it was actually on Christmas Eve, and a victim electronically tracked their stolen iPhone to a warehouse near Heathrow Airport, Detective Inspector Mark Gavin said. The other quote is the security there was eager to help out, and they found the phone was in a box among another 894 phones. On to the continent. Malawi's President Arthur Peter Mutharika was sworn in on Saturday during a ceremony at Kamuzu Stadium in Blantyre, pledging to unite the nation and root out corruption as he returned to office at the age of 85. Footage shows the swearing-in ceremony with Chief Justice Rezin Mzikamanda administering the oath as the president was accompanied by his wife and greeted dignitaries before a military parade, and traditional dancers marked the occasion. In his inaugural address, Mutharika appealed for unity, warning against division along political or tribal lines. Quote unquote, to all my friends in the DPP and anyone in public office, remember this: Malawi belongs to all Malawians, he said. This country does not belong to any person, any tribe, or any political party. He also issued a firm warning against corruption and abuse of power. Quote unquote, I will not allow anyone to destroy this country under my watch, and I mean anyone, whether you are a party official or whoever you are, I will go after you, he said. Mutharika, leader of the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, won the presidential election with 56.8% of the vote, marking a dramatic political comeback after several years out of office. Well, interesting indeed, Africa.
Well, I think that is very evident. You see, you've been out of office,
Right.
7 years, and you've voted back.
Right.
Now, I'm very sure he competed with people who are younger than him, if anyone wants to talk about age. But he was the people's choice. I think age is not a problem. As long as someone is able to deliver. We had Joe Biden.
Yes.
Well, he failed to come for the second term because of health issues, and his party saw that. But also certain positions require experience as well. And if it is the people's choice, then let it be. And there is no constitutional that has been, it doesn't contradict their country's constitution.
Right.
So why not be? But
Right. Let's have a look at what we have in the dailies today, Robert.
Oh, the dailies today are very interesting, I must say.
Right.
Let me begin with a New Vision this morning and check out here. There's a story that I was looking at. I'm trying to read the details of it. Let me come back to what we have now. Political parties get 10 billion.
Is Nope there?
Now, 1.4 billion reserved for the National Unity Platform.
You know, the Uganda say akatono okayana kalimu nkwawa. In the first place, we never expected them to get anything.
So if there is 1.4 reserved for them,
That's a starting point, I think.
now we move on. Government directs contractors to start road repairs countrywide. Some good news, some roads are really deteriorated. And we also have business paralyzed as floods hit Kampala. Yesterday it was another thing altogether.
So sad.
Maria,
That is one individual's livelihood, their family. Everyone is depending on it anyway. Sad.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So we also see Naro produces new banana, millet, potatoes, seed varieties. The only problem I usually have with our scientists is these discoveries don't go down to the ordinary Ugandan. These varieties are resistant, they have better yields, but you find Julie's grandmother deep in the village there, not aware of these varieties. So how does this...
Sometimes they're not even tasty anyways.
Yeah, but at least why they are resistant, they have better yields, they make better money. Now you find these on farms of people who already have. Moving on, Bishop Stewart University knocks out Kampala University, and of course reminder and advert there of the Arab Youth Conference 2025 at Munyonyo, Kampala. Now I'll go to the Daily Monitor. EC throws among his rivals under the bus. Now, if all goes as it seems, the Speaker of Parliament is likely to go through unopposed. Remember, I think in 2021 she came unopposed, if my memory serves me right, which I highly doubt it does then. And in the NRM race, she came unopposed, if you remember very well. Now, if these are knocked out by EC, still she's going to win unopposed. However, I listened to some of their reactions and what they said. Okay. Moving on. Abducted Kenyan activists seek rescue in the High Court. You have government issues stricter rules on lead cars and bodyguards. Now the lizard comes in today. Let me read what the lizard, Julie's friend, has to say here. On government issues, stricter rules on lead cars and bodyguards, it says, will they observe it themselves? That is a question the lizard is wondering here. And of course, there are so many tenders for you. Striking teachers vow not to supervise exams.
Interesting. Now, flying to the rest of East Africa, we're starting off with the Citizen, and that's in Tanzania. UAE now the leading source of investment. That's a headline there that you could get yourself a copy and look into the detail. Why stem cell therapy could transform the future of plastic surgery. Interesting. Matters Education. UDSM unveils 98 online degree programs. Also, court rejects Lissu's bid to block evidence. And UDAT chair, what I learned from my right on BRT. Now, going to Kenya, why Faith threw in the towel, and her appointment to a government team of compensation for victims of state excesses sparked controversy. Now, LSK President Faith Odhiambo has resigned from her position as vice chairperson of the panel, citing stalled progress, court action, and detractors. Where's Njagi? In August last year, after anti-government protests, activist Bob Njagi was seized from a matatu by security agents and tortured for a month in captivity. Now Njagi and his Kenyan colleague Nicholas Oyo have gone missing in Uganda, with a court told they are being detained by the military. Also, and finally, marriage not a 50-50 assets affair, top court rules. That is in the Daily Nation, and that brings us to the end of what we have in the dailies and a few of the stories that we've looked at. Let's have a short break. Good Morning Uganda has just started, so brace yourself, buckle up for an amazing show. Enjoy some music.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. It's the 7th day of October 2025, and the day after tomorrow will be Independence. And allow me read a scripture from Acts 17:26 to 27, which reads, "And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling, that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him. Yet he is actually not far from each one of us. O Uganda, may God uphold thee." Good morning, Uganda, on UBC TV. We come to you live from Nile Avenue. Thank you so much for choosing to watch UBC TV as we inspire you. Now, the National Identification and Registration Authority has announced the mass issuance of renewed national identity cards, as the mass enrollment is expected to end by 31st October 2025. NIRA Registrar Claire Olama highlighted that over 3 million IDs have been printed and dispatched to respective districts. And also, in an effort to combat stigma and promote health, Ministry of East African Affairs is drumming up HIV or AIDS awareness initiatives at the place of work. With World AIDS Day approaching, many companies are launching campaigns to raise awareness and encourage regular testing and supporting employees affected by the virus. These programs reflect a growing commitment to employee well-being, but also play a critical role in breaking down misconceptions and fostering inclusive, informed work environments. Also, quote unquote, "We are going to crush him." Opposition leader Chiroma of President Biya ahead of elections made this statement. Presidential candidate for Cameroon's National Salvation Front, Issa Chiroma Bakari, said that he would crush incumbent President Paul Biya and all others as he addressed a rally on Sunday. "We are going to crush all others, especially the CPDM candidate, because he is responsible for the situation we find ourselves in. I will never betray you," said Chiroma, as he told supporters who were cheering him on. It should be remembered that Paul Biya's daughter went on TikTok sometime last month, and the 27-year-old made a statement that her father has made many people suffer. Paul Biya, the current president of Cameroon, who is contesting to have the 8th term of ruling and leading Cameroon, is 92 years old. It's Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. I am with Robert Chiravo Nyonyintono. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Julie. Do you ever feel proud of being an African?
Yes, many times. Many times. I've never regretted being African,
What
especially
makes you-
Ugandan.
I said African, not Ugandan.
Right. What makes me proud of being African? My texture, the rich culture of Africa, the authenticity of our culture. It's original.
Now let's go to the current affairs. When you see events, political events on the African
politically
continent.
I'm not proud. Politically, no, I'm not proud. It's embarrassing.
Well, sometimes when I remember the great men we study about who did much for Africa, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, If they today looked at Africa, I don't know if they'll be very proud of Africa or not. But that said, yesterday business downtown was not that very good. Many traders, water entered there.
Daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning. Eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching Good Morning Uganda on UBC TV. And the day after tomorrow will be Uganda's 63rd birthday. And today in particular, we want to look at what it means for you as a young person. Uganda, being one of the youngest populations in the world, has about a population of 75% young people. We want to understand from those who fought for Uganda to get independence over through the generations up until date. To you as a young person, what does Uganda's independence mean to you? Is it about political freedom? Is it about economic self-reliance? Is it about cultural affirmation? Is it about something totally different from what I have mentioned? Do get in touch and let us know on 0709602592. At the start of the show, I read a scripture that really speaks into the season as to why you should be proud of the fact that you are Ugandan. You did not place yourself in this country. You did not determine it, neither did your parents. But the word says, and he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him, yet he is actually not far from each one of us. Good morning, Uganda. Engage and be a part of the show. What does independence mean to young people? My name is Julie F. Nantaba. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning once again, Julie.
Yes, we are looking at what independence means to young people. In your area of having covered many stories, which include definitely Uganda's independence for quite a couple of years, and some of these years have had elections in there. What have you studied youths perceive independence as?
First, there's a correction I want to make, and I've seen it in many youth. You know, when we talk about the independence journey of Kenya and Tanzania, we talk about the Mau Mau and the Maji Maji rebellion. Now, because Uganda, we didn't have a similarity or something as the Mau Mau or Maji Maji rebellion, those who remember their history very well, many think that Uganda got independence on a silver platter. You know, I've had many youth saying for Uganda's case, unlike Kenya and Tanzania, they think that the British noticed what was happening there. And they said they don't want the same for Uganda, so Uganda we just got our independence.
You know, in line with that particular statement or perspective, many believe perhaps it's why we respond to political matters the way we do. If you think about it, Kenya, from the Mau Mau Rebellion and the way they got their independence, you notice that the trajectory of their public affairs are really owned by the public.
Now, the truth is Uganda, we did have struggles. We did have people who took all it takes to ensure that we got independence. When you talk about Omukama Kabalega,
Right, true.
you know, he fought the British to the extent that he was even exiled. That was a serious battle for independence. When you come to Uganda here, or Uganda, have the likes of Ignatius Misazi, or Kangave, we have the likes of Ben Chiwanuka, we have quite a number of people, in the interest of time that I may not go through, that really pushed and pushed and pushed. Much as we welcomed the missionaries, one would say that, but you see, Kabaka Mutesa had welcomed these people, so things, no. We had a struggle for independence. It was never gotten on a silver platter for Uganda's case. Now that is why we should value our independence. So the youth must know that we didn't get independence free of charge. We fought, but the methodology used could have differed a little bit. But even where violence was required, we did have that violence. Maybe history doesn't bring it out so very much, but indeed we struggled to get independence. Now, one of the most important things that the youth must understand today is the people that pushed for this independence loved their country. That's why most of the times I'm tempted to think that the people who fought for the independence of Africa, the broader picture, many who are not here by now, if they rose and came back and looked at the Africa today, would they be proud of us? Or would they be very, very upset with us? The generations that have come after independence. Because it was love for country.
If I might interject, you know the saying that a structure rises and falls on the leader. If those who fought for independence, who had that love for the country, indeed which they did, if they came back today and watched the status quo, indeed they wouldn't be proud, like you've questioned. Who do you think they would blame? Would they blame the youth for having a shallow, myopic perspective, or would they blame the leaders who have led them into that shallow, myopic perspective?
First, I think they would blame themselves
How
to
so?
begin with. That as they struggled for independence, there are some values maybe they never passed on to those who are coming after them. You see, Africa, we have a challenge that we do not mentor those that come after us. We don't instill the values that we have in those that are coming after us. Some African countries have done it. And when you look at their political landscape, it is very different. Are you aware there are some African countries that their democracy is almost all better than what the Western world has? They'll go to elections, have peaceful elections, the winner come, no violence. Here they have soon another president. That started somewhere. Now, look at a country and what the youth must pick. Like Uganda. These people struggled so much to ensure that Ugandans run the affairs of their country. And indeed, on the 9th of October, 1962, we saw the Union Jack go down and Uganda's flag rise up for the first time. That was joy, that now we're going to have our affairs. However, I've watched these clips, UBC, we have them, play them. And there's just a section I never liked. When the Prime Minister by then, Dr. Milton Obote, was receiving instruments of power, when he swore allegiance to the king and predecessors to his throne. If you get that clip and watch it, say, I swear allegiance to the Queen of England and the predecessors of the throne. Now, that was our first mistake. We were getting independent politically, economically.
360.
Now,
And yet we're still uttered.
what we got with that utterance, I think that could have been one way. No wonder today we cherish. My view of the Commonwealth is something different.
I agree.
My view, I don't want to go into that, but it's something different.
Me too. But
So,
yes.
the youth, one first lesson they must have is love. They must learn is love for country. These people are not very educated. They were not very exposed as the youth of this generation, but they loved their country and wanted to see their country prosper. Getting independence, they went through a lot of pain.
Somebody comes through and says, Uncle Robert, Uganda had a rebellion called Lamogi Rebellion. This is Nathan Umugisha, who is in Mbuya.
And I thank you for that, because what I want to bring out is Ugandans to know we never go to these things on a silver platter.
Did we have many small rebellions? I wonder, why is it that when we study the history, the Ugandan history or the African history, when we talk about rebellions in Uganda, they seem to in fact pass over our heads. We get them for that moment, but they do not stick as, for example, the Mau Mau Rebellion. Everyone remembers the Mau Mau Rebellion.
The magnitude, we could have had pockets of rebellion, because I remember even the farmers had rebellions. One time they were given seeds to plant, they just fried them and then planted them. We had some ways of rebelling.
Right.
Yeah.
So, staying with you on still the matter of this independence, and I'm glad that you've mentioned that the utterance Dr. Milton Obote made of paying allegiance to the Queen of England was utterly wrong. Indeed, I do agree with you. But in what ways do you think Uganda has achieved independence since 1962? And in what ways might it still be incomplete, especially in the lens of a young person in Uganda?
One, we've achieved independence because we have Africans, we have Ugandans heading institutions that were once headed by the British. Two, as we speak, all fundamental requirements of a state and instruments, we have them as a country.
Right.
Our flag flies up. We have our national anthem. When you come to where we make our laws, the parliament of this house, it's full of Ugandans from top to the bottom. When you go to the judiciary, you don't have white judges, you know? So all systems, all foundations of a nation are in the hands of Ugandans. We've had a number of presidents from independence. All these, we've not had any who is white. We've had, all these have been Ugandans. All the mistakes we've had, we could partially count them on ourselves. Of course, not ruling out that the white man left, but left an invisible hand.
I was about to
You see?
question
He
that.
left,
That
but there's
whilst
that
we
invisible
recognize,
hand.
whilst we recognize the fact that yes, we are the ones ruling or leading ourselves, but in one way or the other, you see spots and
Of course,
bits
we've also
and
made our
episodes
mistakes.
of a white man still leading or making decisions for us.
And some, we can count this as a weakness of us who have taken this country since independence, but also on the other side. I was reading a book. I just came across it. Not even on the net, I was reading something, but it's a book someone wrote. And of course, there are also some video clips of a great leader of the African soil called the late Colonel Muammar Gaddafi.
True.
Now, this was an African.
He was.
His country had no debt anywhere. From these IMFs, where, you know, his country was totally independent and was extending this to the African continents. One would say, but he had oil. Brother and sister, there are countries that have oil where oil has become a curse. you know. They also have the resource that he had.
Take a look at Congo's rich.
But this has become, yes, Congo is a very rich country. It has all minerals.
But it's become a curse for it.
But look how it's been torn apart and there are refugees everywhere.
Right.
So we are partially independent. You know, today when you talk about the African Union, Uganda, we are there. We've hosted forums. When you go to the UN, we are still craving for a permanent seat on the Security Council as Africa, not only as Uganda. So we are independent to a certain extent.
If I may ask, especially during this political season, has any candidate, out of all the presidential candidates, said a thing about Uganda's independent structure, what it looks like to them?
I've been keen to listen, but apart from Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who usually takes us back.
Yes,
And some people
that's
don't
true.
appreciate
The history.
when His Excellency begins a speech and says in 1986, you know, prior to independence, when he talks about the mistakes that Africa did or made by then. Many don't understand, but that's the most critical part that I like about, you know, this history.
It shows you where you're coming
It
from.
means so much if we analyze. For example, after independence, look at how governments were being taken off coup by coup. Instead of us saying we have now we are running our affairs, let's begin moving on. Uganda was given a rebirth by the NRM government, but all these other governments, it was a mess. Coup after coup, coup after coup. It was, you know, peace was not there, development was not there. So, NRM comes in. Of course, it has made its progress. And mistakes
And
as
its
well.
mistakes, yes.
We can't say that all has been rosy. There have been challenges, but it has made significant steps in the line of security, in the line of peace,
Yes, yes.
you know, which other regimes had failed to do. Yet, if after independence Uganda had been peaceful and begun on development, so the youth must learn loving their country and maintaining peace.
And also appreciating where they're coming from.
And where they are coming from. So lessons for them, peace and love for country. That those who fought for independence, they're not looking at benefits. They're saying, but no, we should run this country. They're not looking at money. Today the youth are coming in politics to make money.
Because it's a job. What does
It's a job.
independence mean to you as a young person? Is it about political freedom? Is it about economic self-reliance? Is it about cultural affirmation? Is it about any other reason? Do share 0709602592. Some of the comments coming through. Thank you for the show. I'm Kimaleni Michael. To me, as I understand the meaning of independence, let the youth work hard to be independent in their life as far as the financial issues are concerned, not depending on others always, especially on politicians, by just making noise on the street. Kimaleni's comment reminds me of a statement someone one time who had lived abroad for so long told me that in Uganda we are so blessed that when you're stuck, you can call somebody to lend you 10K. Outside of Uganda, for example, in Europe, in the Western world, you can't call anyone to give you money as who.
Even food is available. A youth will just time lunch, move around, people eating, jangu to
Last month we hosted artists in Uganda. Uganda hosted artists from Zambia and Malawi to perform at a concert, and they were surprised that in Uganda, at $1, you can have a full plate of food at satisfactory mode. They were surprised because to them $1, what can you eat?
No,
in
that is
Zambia,
very-
as near as
I think the biggest
Zambia.
challenge we are having now, you talked about economic independence.
Yes.
That is the area, because when it comes to leadership, yes, the West may have an influence, but not to a greater extent. That is why when we hear a presidential candidate having hopes in the Western world, we don't...
That's questionable.
We question, because we are looking at total independence. Now, the challenge that we still have is economic independence. When your country is in debts, when your budget, you still rely on our development partners.
Honorable Nandala's manifesto has at the start that in 1997 Uganda was excused of its debt. We were completely debt-free. And he expected that that would have been a start for us to do better. But many years later, we find ourselves in trillions and trillions of debt.
I want to remind Honorable that that did not only apply for Uganda. It applied for also other countries.
Right.
Who are also now highly indebted. But we must have economic independence, because when you're not economically independent, ladies understand this better.
Yes, very well.
I'm sorry to use that. When you're not economically independent, there is so much that you can't decide. That is when they will tell you to sell all privatize government entities, government, you know, they will have so much on you, and at the end of the day, you will be controlled. I remember one time here when we passed a bill against the homosexuality. If you remember, how someone sits somewhere and says, now aid, we are going to cut aid. And of course, you saw how we went into a panic mode, HIV, AIDS, how the ARVs, this, that. So we still have a battle. We still have a battle for economic independence.
Yes.
If we get there, I want to believe Uganda will fully be independent.
Now, let me read a couple of the comments coming through, and I will end this with an opinion story that was shared by a Ugandan who has traversed the world and has experience of what other countries look like compared to Uganda. Some of your comments. Good morning, Team GMU. I'm Williams from Zombo District, West Nile. This year's independence would have been colorful if our children were in class learning. They, the children, normally make the day colorful with marching and reciting poems and so on. Let the government address the teachers' long overdue concerns amicably. Mr. Robert, good morning. Why before NRM government, Uganda was not stable politically? I am Richard Okum from Dokolo. And Simon, I loved the decision, and I love the love for our country. You can't talk about past mistakes. How old was Uganda by then? We have a bad culture, talking bad on past governments instead of using the weakness to build our country. This is Jensen in Mutungo. And good morning, UBC. UBC independence is for rich people. Finally, what does independence mean if corruption still stands and steals away youth opportunities? If public funds meant for youth programs are mismanaged, what justice does independence offer the young generation? How can we redefine independence in terms of integrity, accountability, and service? Now, here's a story, and it's by Gertrude Kamya Otieno, who wrote, "Is London really richer than Kampala?" And she reads, "This October, I walked the streets of both cities. In affluent London, I saw stress, cold service, and neighbors who barely greeted. In poor Kampala, I saw rain, sunshine, banter, and in markets, and people still laughing even through hardship. If affluence is money, London wins. But if affluence is joy, dignity, and tolerance, then Kampala has a story to tell." And as Uganda heads into elections, maybe the real question is, will any politician dare promise us not just affluence, but happiness? That is a food for thought for you. Up next is JMU Tourism Express.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth, in the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Today is World Tourism Day. It has been celebrated in West Nile, in Arua City. We are very excited that the whole world came to Arua City. Now, West Nile is a very unique part of Uganda. This is the part of Uganda which has been traded between Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, Belgian Congo, and Uganda 3 times. West Nile, so great history. Another great history about West Nile is the place where the Nubians were given to go and form Uganda Protectorate through Emin Passa and Gordon. West Nile also happens to be the place where Churchill came to hunt elephants, and also President Roosevelt of the US came to hunt rhinos, and he still has as trophies in his library in the US. But we need to also look at West Nile as the Nile. 210 kilometers of motorable part of the Nile. So we welcome people to go to Jinja, but you want more scenic and longer, more serene part of the Nile, that is West Nile. West Nile, again, is the place culturally the most diverse part of Uganda. We say West Nile, but you find Lugbara, Aringa, Madi, Kakoa, Aluru, Jonam, Gimara, Raleigh, all in one. So it's a melting point. But apart from this, also 800,000 refugees living harmoniously with the people here. Again, West Nile is the place where soon OWA is going to have rhinos back. You know, the white rhino. And then Rhino Camp, the place called Rhino Camp in the world, is here in West Nile. So you want to see rhinos in the wild, this is going to be the only place. But most important about West Nile is very friendly, welcoming people. Okay? Very green place, unlike it is taught in schools erroneously. It's not up in the hills, it's a green place and welcoming people. And when you come to West Nile, you will find Ara fishing lodges, a well-established tourist destination, end to end, whether tourist activities, whether vacation, whether a getaway, in form of either adventure or just relaxation, birding. If you want canoeing, you need to do other water sports, all is found here. Mountaineering, all is found here. Please, tourism and vacation is not the big 5 alone. come for the options, and you will have the opportunity to know how northern Uganda has emerged post-war into a very vibrant, confident, and very embracing and progressive community.
A happy World Tourism Day to you all. My name is Frida Kulu. I am an investment manager specializing in tourism for the Uganda Development Bank. So every 27th of September, we join the rest of the tourism fraternity to celebrate World Tourism Day, and this year in particular we'll be celebrating it in Arua district. I'm happy to note that as Uganda Development Bank, we've been part of a number of projects that we have since funded in our different sectors, inclusive of tourism, agriculture, schools and hospitals, manufacturing and industry, and also we do have a special unit called the Special Programs. Under tourism, we've funded so far and are still funding others as well. So we identify very well with the World Tourism Day. This is a remarkable experience for us. We're happy to partner with the World Ministry of Tourism, and we thank them for always making sure that we are part of it. We've been great funders as far as tourism projects in Uganda are concerned, not just in Arua and the West Nile region at heart, but in the Uganda overall. We thank the government of Uganda for being a part of this and making this a noble cause, that we are able to recognize that role the sector plays in terms of keeping the tourism fraternity and the sector afloat. I thank you so much. We continue to work together to bring Uganda to a united close. Thank you. Award for
brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. You are watching UBC TV. Time for GMU Business. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. And we're starting off with matters. The railway. The Uganda Railways Corporation will temporarily close the Namamve Industrial Park Mukono railway line for 2 months to allow rehabilitation of the drainage system within the industrial park. The works are expected to affect passenger services between Kampala and Mukono, with trains stopping at Namamve during the maintenance period. The rehabilitation of the Namamve-Mukono railway line comes as Uganda Railways Corporation intensifies efforts to upgrade its infrastructure and boost trade and development across the country. In an exclusive interview with UBC, Benon Kajuna, Managing Director of the Uganda Railways Corporation, confirmed that the 2-month exercise will temporarily disrupt both passenger services and transportation of goods, with trains stopping at Namamve until works are completed. Kajuna further revealed that the corporation is collaborating with the government of Kenya to ensure seamless movement of goods from the port of Mombasa to Kampala as a key step forward, improving regional connectivity and efficiency. Meanwhile, URC is also rehabilitating the Tororo-Gulu Mita Gorge line to enhance cargo movement to South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Uganda has received 30,000 tons of wheat seeds destined for the Karamoja sub-region, touted as the country's next agricultural frontier. According to Ambassador Lieutenant James Philip Idro from Operation Wealth Creation, the imported seeds will spark a green revolution in Karamoja, bringing food security, incomes and renewed hope to the people. At exactly 4 a.m., Air Uganda, the national carrier, touched down at Entebbe International Airport, and on board was precious cargo, 30 tons of wheat seeds from Nigeria earmarked for farmers in Karamoja. On hand to receive the shipment were Ambassador Lieutenant General Philip Idro of Operation Wealth Creation and Robert Anyang, Country Director of Sasakawa, a non-profit organization supporting smallholder farmers across Africa. Ambassador Idro described the consignment as a beacon of hope and a symbol of prosperity for the region. It is anticipated that this initiative will create job, curb cattle rustling, and promote agro-industrialization, all key goals under the National Development Plan 4. With projected investments of up to $10 billion over the next 5 years, the wheat program is expected to spur industries such as flour milling, bakeries, pasta, and animal feed production. Now let's look at matters youth. Youths in Kamoli district need to embrace modernized agricultural practices to get income and unemployment. The manager at Kamoli Youth Millers, Jen Nakato, encourages youth people to invest in agriculture, which ideally is supposed to encourage employment, not unemployment. Pardon me on that one. And during a community engagement in Mityana, it was observed that empowering young people through initiatives in water supply, health, and environmental sustainability will address gaps in development. Value addition in agricultural produce as a key step in improving income generation among young farmers was emphasized. Meanwhile, in Mityana district, residents of Chisamba Sekanyonyi are celebrating improved access to clean water following the installation of an automated water dispensing system for boreholes. The Sunda prepared water machine serves over 88 communities and is a joint project by Team Up Uganda. Well, that marks the end of the stories that we have today. But before we close this one, let's have a look at what we have with the Forex rates as of the 6th day of October 2025. The US dollar opened at 3,451.68 and was selling at 3,461.68. And by midday, it had dropped to 3,445.68 and selling at 3,455.68. By close of day, it was at a huge drop of 3,445.14 and selling at 3,455.14. The British pound was buying at 4,631.64 and selling at 4,645.09. And the euro was buying at 4,036.32 and selling at 4,048.04. The Kenyan shilling was at 26.67 and selling at 26.75. And the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.40, maintaining, and selling at a drop of 1.40, which is the same as buying. The South African rand was buying at 199.58 and selling at 200.15. Well, that marks the end of what we have in the business segment today. Up next is the agenda, and we are having a conversation on the Mbeki report that took place in 2015. 10 years later, how far, what goals have been reached on, have been accomplished, all of that conversation in the next few minutes. So stick around, 0709 602 592. Good morning.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's what you feel in the gentle caress of tropical wind from the mountaintops. And the glow in your heart from a warm neighborly invite. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Juko.
Yo.
What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that.
Okay.
The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. Live from UBC studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV. If you are just joining us, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda. And if you started the show with us, thank you so much for keeping on. And if you phoned us halfway the mark, thank you. You are equally welcome. And it's always a pleasure having you on board. You are watching UBC TV, always here to inspire you. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. And this morning, we are looking at 10 years after the Mbeki report, how Uganda's leaders can close illicit financial flows and finance jobs for the youth. And looking at what the Mbeki report is, it is a report that was done in 2015 from the African Union, United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, and it had a high-level panel on illicit financial flows from Africa, which was chaired by former South Africa President Thabo Mbeki. And it details the ways, both legal and illegal, that funds are moved out of Africa. Pretty much that's the summary of it. But seeing as I'm not the expert, we do have an expert to speak into this whole detail, and that is Asimwe Mugumya, who is the Programs Officer at the Youth for Tax Justice Network. Be a part of the show, 0709 602 592. Good morning, Asimwe.
Good morning, Jackie.
Thank you so much for coming through. Always a pleasure having you. This is the second time we are doing this together.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me here.
Right.
And always inviting us.
Right.
Thank you, thank you.
So let's start from the definition to a layman indeed.
Yes.
What exactly illicit financial flows means and how these affect Uganda's economy altogether.
So good morning, viewers. Thank you for being part of this show. Today we are here to discuss about the Mbeki report and also about the illicit financial flows, usually termed as IFFs. So IFFs are different ways how funds are leaving Africa. And these are illegal and unethical ways that money leaves Africa. There's been so much concern lately of how money comes into Africa, how African governments can raise funds for what they need to do. You want to build a road here, you have to maybe either get a loan from maybe the IMF or the World Bank, or you have to tax your people. So we need money to do what the governments have to do for their people. But also we have realized that as there's this constant seeking for money, constant seeking for funds for domestic revenue to finance government projects, the governments also and the people themselves, we are losing a lot of money through illicit financial flows. And the debate is that if we could close those illicit financial flows where money is being lost, we could save a lot and not have to bear heavy taxes on the people, not have to bear heavy loans that will be paid in the future under heavy interest rates, and that is the deal. Illicit financial flows basically is understanding how money is illegally and unethically leaving the African continent.
Are there examples of what an illicit financial flow, or how illegally money comes into the country and goes out of the country?
Thank you very much. There are numerous examples of how money is leaving the country. The first example would be through tax evasion. So we have very many multinational companies that do business here, and they are supposed to pay taxes.
Right.
But they arrange their tax books in such a way that they pay little or no tax. So in that way they cheat the government where they're operating, because the government would be getting these taxes from their activities. For them, they come and do activities here, they earn profits and take that profit elsewhere, and they cheat the government of taxes. So what does that mean for us, the local person at the ground? That means that if the government would have gotten these taxes, they would have been used maybe to provide some services to us, like healthcare, education, those services that any African government is required to provide to its people. So that is just one example of tax evasion. Then there is also profit shifting. You have companies that have presence in more than even 50 countries. So when they make a profit here, in their own books, in the books of accounts, they credit it as if it's a profit from somewhere else. And then the revenue authorities from those countries cannot now go and trace. Usually they don't have enough manpower to go and trace where the revenues are being taken. So that disturbs also the income flow of the countries, and the countries cannot tax on those revenues. And also there's profit shifting, then there's tax evasion, and there's people who just refuse to pay taxes altogether. There are those who pay few, those are a bit kind to us, but there are those who refuse to pay taxes altogether.
Right.
Yes. And also there's the final goal of where multinationals come and work here, but they take away our resources. This is especially seen in mining countries where there's extractive industry. And of recent, we have seen there's oil in Hoima, but also other countries like Kenya, they have been seeing it in terms of gold. South Africa, it was a problem there because they have a lot of income from mining. You find that what is being mined, the country gets a very, very small portion where the resource is coming from. Say, you have oil coming from Uganda, but the amount, you see, there are so many people involved, so many companies involved in the chain link. So from where the crude oil comes from, where it is shipped, then there is processing, and then we get back now the petrol to use to run our daily activities. Now you find that the income that we are getting, for us, the owners of the resource, is about even 15%. And the rest of the 85% is going to the multinationals that are involved. And at the end of the day, it has even been called the oil curse. You find that people that have the resource are not benefiting from that resource. We are seeing these examples in DRC, even Nigeria, and that is one of the ways of illicit financial flows. You have the resource, but you are being exploited. You are being exploited in such a way that
by your own resource.
It would have even been better if you never had the resource to start with. And this is one of the very many things that are showcased in the Mbeki report of 2015, and how we can close these gaps. In the Mbeki report shows that if African governments can successfully close these gaps, then we can raise enough resources to run government projects here in Africa in that way without overburdening our people, the beneficiaries themselves.
Right, very interesting picture you've painted there. 0709602592. Engage the conversation. We are looking at the Mbeki report 2015 and 10 years later, what has been yielded. And we are speaking with Asimwe Mugumya, who is the programs officer at the Youth for Tax Injustice Network. Now, Asimwe, let's look at 10 years down the road. How much progress has Uganda taken from the year 2015 up until date, 10 years down the road?
So the Mbeki report made some quite profound recommendations.
Right.
First of all, they found that the existence of these illicit financial flows and the harm that they are doing to the African governments, but also how the governments themselves can help to close out these loopholes. For Uganda as a case study, like according to your question, we are seeing that Uganda, we usually have very heavy tax holidays, very, very long, 10 years, 15 years, tax holidays for most of these multinational companies. And these are companies, by the time they come here, they have already been in existence for, you find a company that has been around for over 100 years. So Uganda itself is, I think on Thursday, they're going to be making 63 years. But then you find a company that has been around for over 100 years.
And us who are 63 are the ones giving the tax holiday.
And we are the ones giving them tax holidays, yet they should be even giving us. Clearly, it's first of all, the negotiations themselves, there's an imbalance there. But also, the other recommendations were how to follow these monies where they are going. We see where the money is coming from and where it's going, how to follow it, and to see what the government has done so far. I think, considering the changes that have been coming, I'm starting to see less and less tax holidays for foreign companies, although now I think there's a shift to our local companies. And then we have also started inputting in our laws the requirement for local content management when hiring people. In that when these foreign companies come here, they are required to hire a certain percentage of their staff members as local people. So this ensures that yes, even though the money will go out, maybe the profits will go out at some point, but these people that they are hiring, who are our brothers and sisters here, they are getting jobs and they can sustain their families, and there's some impact on the ground. Because now, if a multinational company, like say, I'm just going to give an example now, like Taro Oil, were to come here and first of all, they want to invest in your oil sector, and then you give it about 15 years without paying taxes. Then that is 15 years of the government not really earning from the activities that company is doing here. But if that company is required now to hire about 75% of its staff members, so those 75, because it will need people to run the activities here. And usually they have they have so many people in their staff. So the salary wage that they will pay these people will have some little bit of impact, even in the areas where they're working. But then we are also seeing a shift where these companies are being encouraged, encouraged to involve in the CSR. these CSR activities where they give back to the communities where they offer. These activities may not necessarily have a profit impact on their part. Now we can see I think the most recent example is the CAF that was being funded by Total. It's an international company, but this was an African tournament. But they give back to the community. So many people benefit from these tournaments, and we have a shift where, yes, the owners of the resources where these companies are operating are getting to learn to benefit from this company's presence here.
Right.
Yes.
Now let's look at the monies. Yes. How much revenue do you think Uganda loses through IFFs annually? And perhaps if we could look at the numbers, what do you think that money could actually fund domestically in case it wasn't lost through a stream of IFFs?
So Uganda, for example, I think the most recent research was from 2022, where they said about $86 million are lost through IFFs.
That's how much again?
About 86 million.
Wow.
It was an estimate. Because, you know, when you lost money that you have not even seen, it's very hard to tell that this has come from here. So
it could be more.
It could be more, it could be less. But we are also seeing a shift where, because most of these places where the money is being lost to, these are also places where that Uganda is going to. Most of these African countries are going to get foreign aid. Now, there was an example, I think, from like about 2012 that led to this report for the case of Zambia, where they had lost about $106 million in a year, and in that year they had collected only 80 million in foreign aid. Wow. So you find a country that is losing resources being the same country that is begging for resources.
Right, right.
But what it is losing is much more than what it is begging for. So this report says if you can only cap down on these IFFs, if you can only close the taps where the money is getting lost to, you may not even have to go through the rigorous process of going around begging, lifting your arms that you need foreign aid. And the report says that we can do better. We can actually fund most of these African governments. We can fund our own programs if we close down on IFFs and we focus on keeping those monies here.
All right. Yes. Now let's look, indeed, still staying with the layman perspective.
Yes.
What practical terms or practical ideas do you think can be implemented to crack down on these IFFs and how this can lead to employment opportunities for young people in Uganda?
Yes, I think that's the biggest deal we are trying to look for, how to have employment opportunities for young people. So we can, first of all, it is important to have these companies here. Okay, multinational companies, they have been in business for a long time. It is important to have them here because they offer many employment opportunities. One of the practical terms that you're asking for is this requirement that we have seen. It has become a shift, it's a most recent shift, but a requirement to have them hire about 75% of their staff members as local personnel. That has made them get directly involved with the people, as opposed to having a company just full of white people and they're operating in Africa and you do not know what they are doing. So here, when they hire, because of this, they have also been forced to train. Yes, because there's been an argument that most of these people don't even hold the qualifications, but because the law is there, now they are forced to train them.
Right.
So when they train, we get a better workforce, and usually a better workforce involves, once they hire someone, maybe after some 2-3 years, that person may resign, do other things, and then shift that knowledge. And even the knowledge that people get at work, they can come and use at home. They can come and contribute to their communities also. So in a way, the requirement to have about 75% of the staff members for these foreign multinational companies has hoped to have many people here and benefit the young people. Another way that's a practical term would be to encourage them to open up their books of accounts to the revenue sources. instead of giving them tax holidays, we can just require them to file returns and pay taxes, but at a reduced cost.
Right.
Yes, I know most people do not like to lose money. That is
That's
what they see in taxation. They feel like they are losing money, but it is encouraged that if we let them pay, if we let them come and participate here, do trade with us, and show us how their books of accounts are running, we get to also know how to tap them, how to close those taps. Because the biggest fear that we've been seeing is you lose money and you don't even know how you've lost it. It's like a scam. It's like a scam when someone has scammed you and you don't tell, you just know okay, the money has gone, but you can't explain how it has gone. So one of the ways is encourage them to show us their tax books and be open with us.
Right.
Then also we can promise to, instead of giving them tax holidays, we just tax less.
Right.
Yes.
And with the recommendations you've made, I think in there what was really crossing my mind is to what extent, to what percentage do you think, would you estimate this problem could be curbed with that practicability being applied?
So about 50%.
Right.
It's a 50-50 issue.
50-50, yes.
It could go for us, could go against us. But I think the requirement to have our people as staff members of these companies, it shows that if our people are patriotic enough, they could also report back to us. You know, they could say, you people, you're dealing with this person, but most of their money is in the Mauritius instead of here. There's been these cases of seeing companies, nations that earn more. I think recently they were saying for the case of coffee, you find that Germany has made more money from coffee, yet they don't grow any, as compared
than Uganda that grows it.
As compared to Uganda and Ghana that grow the actual items.
Right.
So this actually, how we get to know these facts is because of, you know, the people that interact with these companies, the ones that ship to them, the ones that now buy from them, and all of this helps in dealing with it. When maybe another practical term is to actually encourage them to set up farms here, because Africa is shifting towards industrialization. Most of these ways industrialization is a way to grow income for a nation, grow income for a nation's people, and also when the industries are allowed to shift here, instead of us selling them our raw materials, the industries are shifted here. We can have a better bargaining policy.
With value addition.
Yes, we are seeing, I think, as a case with that for Kira Motors here.
Yes.
Although we are yet to see, but I think nothing is a one-day thing. You have to give it time to actually see results.
That's very true. Yes. Well, we are looking at 10 years after the Mbeki report, which was in 2015, and how Uganda's leaders can close illicit financial flows and, of course, finance jobs for the youth. My guest today is Asimwe Mugumya, who is the Programs Officer at the Youth for Tax Justice Network. And this is a conversation we are delving deep into. If you're just joining in, you're welcome. You have missed quite a bit of the meat, but there's still more meat. So you'll get, at least there's something you'll partake of. 0709-602-592. Now let's look at the side of accountability, policy and enforcement. What reforms do you think are urgently needed in Uganda's tax and financial systems and policies to be aligned so that this can be curbed?
Accountability policy. So thank you for that. The main issue, one of the main reforms, I think, is for us to learn how to hold our leaders accountable. There's been some debates that most of our leaders actually are maybe acquiescing to these IFFs happening. Maybe they know. You cannot claim that they don't know.
Yes.
Maybe they know, but they just let it happen because they feel like the people they are leading will not find out. So we need also, as young people, we need to hold our leaders accountable. We need to hold our leaders accountable, and you know, it will also extend to the ones they are doing business with. So another accountability policy is to create value for ourselves. Is create value and insist First of all, usually there's a big debate about these negotiation mechanisms, and if you would be in a worse negotiation space if you have very little value to negotiate with. So we can create value for our products, whether they are agricultural products, we add value on them, whether they are extractive products from the extractive industry, we add value from them here locally. And once the value, everyone wants to do business with someone that has value.
True.
Yes, so once the value has increased, these multinationals are forced now to maybe play towards our terms.
Right.
As opposed to us being forced to play towards their terms.
That's very true. And from what I hear from your suggestions and recommendations, it feels like now the idea of cooperative movements should be emphasized the more.
Yes.
Because I mean, that's how, if you're working together and fighting for each other in a group, it's easier to demand than when you're just an individual. Now, let's look at the platforms for accountability. Is Youth for Tax Justice one of those platforms where accountability can be held against leaders?
So as Youth for Tax Justice Network, we just create awareness about the existence of these issues among the young people. So the idea is to have more young people being involved in, first of all, knowing that the issues exist, advocating for positive change.
Right.
Advocating for positive change. And I think right now it's a very ripe period that we are in
election season.
Yes, we're in an election season. So this is one of the ways to encourage our leaders to be involved now. Also, we also provide spaces where the young people can participate.
Right.
Can participate without just having to send representatives. Young people can participate through ways of debates. They can participate through essay writing competitions, things like that, where they show that, okay, you create a competition and young people show from their own voice that, okay, I'm not happy with this. Then one of the other ways that Youth for Tax Justice Network is involving young people is we are also encouraging movements where young people can be involved in the governance of their country. I know now that we are in a political space, it is encouraged that these movements are more peaceful, so that we can create ample space where we can debate and contribute peacefully to the development of our country.
Right.
Yes.
Now, looking at the Mbeki report, comparing Uganda with how far it has moved as per the recommendations of this report since 2015, and the rest of Africa, how do you think so far we are balancing?
I think when you compare with the rest of Africa,
yes.
When we compare with the rest, I think South Africa, being that their former president is
the chairperson.
Is the chairperson
yes.
of the committee that led to the report. I think they're the ones that are doing quite well. But we are also not doing too badly ourselves. We are also not doing too badly. As of this week, I think beginning today or tomorrow, there is a 13th Pan-African Conference on illicit financial flows. And this time it is going to be held in South Africa. And it is a chance now, because the chairperson, the one who signed the report, is going to be there. It's a chance now for countries, most African countries actually, to assess themselves. 10 years past, what have we done? Where have we gone wrong? What can we improve? And I think these ways of engagement, these ways of acting with each other, can help us to learn from each other, first of all, learn from our mistakes, and also learn from what we have done well, share with our colleagues, and learn how to grow the continent at large. So we are encouraging young people to be involved in these processes. You don't even need to travel. You can access this conference online. Yes, and learn more. First, see, it's a very ripe opportunity right now. The conference is, I think, starting today up to Friday. The conference is ongoing, and we learn how to do better for our countries. Yes.
And Uganda is making 63 years on Thursday. Looking at it, we've had a lot of conversation, of course, of multinationals being a big player in contributing to these IFFs. How do you think, especially for the young people, because right now it's us who are taking the mantle, how best do you think we can be involved in ensuring that Uganda is actually independent from foreign players and this being used as a way to curb IFFs, but just from the mentality of independence? Because I understand sometimes we're not even independent in many things, in many structures, which still contributes to the growth of IFFs within our economy.
Thank you so much, Julie, for that. You see, there's the argument of, yes, we are going to celebrate our independence on Thursday, but there's the argument of, are we really making 63? I believe that Uganda was there even before 1962.
Right.
Now, when you look at the historical perspective of this, is that even the colonialism that came to us, even before that, slave trade, most of this was being run by multinational enterprises. And historically, multinational enterprises have usually had a higher bargaining power or have had higher control in the affairs of countries where they operate, especially African countries, because of the imbalance in the negotiation processes. What can young people do? Now, first of all, not be happy with this.
Right.
Okay, I think it starts from a feeling of, okay, this is going on, but I'm not happy with it. This is 63 years of independence, but are we really independent? You find that what we are working for mostly as the local communities is being shipped away overseas, where we cannot even benefit from our sweat. And this shift in profits, this shift in resources, we have to express from the beginning point of view that we are not happy with this. Then we have to find ways as young people to shift now the narrative to benefit. We can hold these companies accountable. I think right now there's the censure culture. You know, I think it's being called the cancel culture. We can even boycott their products. I think as of now, most of these multinationals are even selling here.
Right.
Yeah, we are their main market. They get the raw materials. They get the raw materials from here. They process elsewhere, but they come back and sell here. We can also give them a fair competition. Okay. We can also be involved in whatever they are doing. You see, if you're processing coffee, we can also put here coffee processing plants. I know it's expensive, but we could get also the same tax holidays from government and get involved in trade, get involved in business, and give them a run for their money. But also, young people can advocate for positive change. This is advocating for, this is through, now, like the most recent example I gave you of the changes in the legal requirements of doing business here. If you're multinational, have at least 75% of your people working here. We can advocate for such positive changes that will benefit us. Then we can also have them, we can also advocate that they pay maybe a fair share of their taxes. Even if they're just getting raw materials from here, they pay better for those. We advocate for better negotiation terms as regards what they already have. And I think that's one of the ways that young people can be involved in having a positive shift towards curbing IFFs.
Let's look at the season we're in as Uganda. It's the election season. I don't know if you've taken time to listen to some of the manifestos that the candidates have aligned to us. Which candidate's campaign manifesto do you think is so far addressing the issue of curbing IFFs in their way of operation for the next 5 years?
Okay, thank you, Julie, for that. I would have you to know that we are non-partisan.
Definitely, definitely.
We are non-partisan. I'm not here to campaign for anyone.
Yes.
But yes, we are in election season, and most political parties that have fronted their candidates have, made their manifestos public.
Yes.
And they are looking for resources. They are banking on these manifestos to get a proper following and hopefully win the vote. But in all this, we encourage the young people that are involved. Okay, all of us should be involved in the running of our country. We encourage young people to hold them to the account.
Accountable.
To hold them to the account. First of all, to hold them to ensure that what is in the document, is not just a fairy tale. Okay, we ensure that on these rallies we point to them questions. What you said on this page of your manifesto, how exactly do you want to put it in action? Okay, this is one of the ways. I think this is the right this is the right time to hold them accountable. So we encourage the young people to look at the different manifestos of the people that have offered themselves for leadership, and also hold them accountable in the rallies. Put them to the task of explaining how they're trying to shift the balance between us as local governments here, as African nations, and the balance between them and the multinationals, where most of the funds are going.
Very interesting.
Yes.
And now that would interest you with those who attend these campaigns,
yes,
because it looks like those who can ask these questions are probably just following the campaigns on TV or online platforms. And those who are not able to ask these questions are the people who attend these campaign rallies. But I think it's important that if you can ask these questions, if you're able to follow these manifestos and ask the tough questions that indeed require your presence and affect you as a citizen of Uganda, it's important that you attend these campaign rallies and ask those questions. Now we're starting to bring this conversation to a close. We are at its tail end. It has started. We'll get into a couple of your comments in just a minute, but I will ask, do you think the conversation of climate change affects or has a role to play in encouraging IFFs or discouraging IFFs?
So thank you for the issue about climate change. Climate change has been one of the ways, I think, for most of the communities here where we rely heavy on agriculture, that have had a very big impact on the day-to-day lives of our people here. And we are seeing drastic changes unforetold. And yes, this has been also one of the ways through which it is having a shift in losing finances, losing revenue.
Right.
So most of the African governments now, given especially the case of Uganda, most of our products that we sell are agricultural products. And so you have coffee, we have, I think, we are trying to bring cocoa and also vanilla. And these are becoming now very important products on the world market for our farmers here. But where we cannot control or even foretell how the weather and other impacts where we are growing them, how they will behave in 4 to 5 years to come, it is becoming unsustainable. And also, where it is becoming unsustainable, the people that invest here are less likely to invest because of the unsustainability. So these climate change issues also affect us as young people. And daily,
Right.
If there's yesterday it rained and people were complaining downtown, complaining downtown because of floods, and that's in itself alone affects how we deal with profits, how we deal with
paying taxes,
and also how we deal with revenue mobilization for our governments. So I think we need to, first of all, find ways of having a better control on the climate. We need to hold most of the ones that are doing the emissions that have led to this climate change.
Right.
That side, and they are not even getting the impact.
Yes.
Maybe they are getting it, but at a different rate than even us that we are getting it. We need to advocate that they pay their fair share of the repercussions. Yes, if there's a flood, if it can be explain that, okay, there's a flood in Tunisia today, but it has been brought by maybe the impacts made by a company that has been operating there, but now it's shifting the profits elsewhere. Yeah, that company should be able to pay for the damage it has caused.
Yes. And now that reminds me indeed of a story that we did engage in the morning of what happened in downtown yesterday, of course, with the drainage channel, being constructed on by Hamchigundu. Quite a number of business people made losses with their business, which really was not a good thing, of course. So you'd wonder if there's action to be taken by Hamchigundu in compensation or a ray of hope to these traders who run businesses, must pay taxes to the government, and must have livelihoods from these businesses, one would wonder. Anyways, just to engage a couple of your comments as we engage as we start to close this topic. Phillips from Karamoja, Uganda collects a lot of money from revenues, from local revenues. It's only how it is used or allocated. The companies that employs, I think it's what you meant, or that employs a good number of youth are not paid well, and they pay salaries that cannot make one think of an alternative business, just the way government doesn't want all its workers to get better pay. Remember, good remuneration makes one concentrate on his or her work without much follow-up. Supervision, accountability in Uganda is just ceremonial. We have IGG department with international and national auditors. These are architects of corruption. Instead of auditing activities, they audit papers, reports, which are not real, and so funds go that way. This is Phillips from Karamoja. Tadeo Nkulega from Busota Kamuli district. You say, I appreciate, Madam, for the great programs you always bring to us. Your services are highly appreciated. God bless. Thank you for the appreciation and for being on the show. And somebody here, okay, Mbeki report, Mugumya has articulated well the complex report on how financial resources leak out of Africa. The examples given are outstanding, where Africa loses finances only to get so-called financial aid. And you say that we see some benefits in Uganda by insisting on local content in both employment and resource supply. What percentage of emoluments do Ugandans get from the overall earnings of the company? Mbeki report should examine this as well. It may be minuscule while the company remains with the biggest share. Mbeki report should also examine the sources of the so-called aid to Africa. I have a high suspicion that this is the excess money that they used to cheat off of us from shifting resources to other countries via multinational presence in those countries. This is Apuda Francis, senior citizen. Thank you, sir, for being on the show. Asimwe, what are your parting shots?
So first of all, I want to thank the very kind remarks from the senior citizen.
Yes.
And I think that shows that, yes, we came here for a struggle for young people, but these issues affect all of us as Africans. Let us be involved in the governance of our country. Let us hold our leaders accountable. Let us now be involved, take keen interest, okay? Yes, I'm supporting this candidate, but,
what exactly are they saying?
Yes, what are they bringing to the table? Yes, although I have to say that we are not here to be partisans telling you, I'm not here to tell you, vote for this, don't vote for this one. But let's be keen about how we are running our nation. And let's know at the end of the day, all of us are responsible for what happens to us. Yes, it is now 63 years of independence. We can no longer blame the colonizer. Yes, now it is our blame. Yes.
You who votes, you who probably votes out of excitement without listening or reading that manifesto as that candidate tables it to you. What I've picked from this conversation, lots of nuggets, but amongst them is the fact that you are supposed to hold your leader accountable. One time I hosted a guest who said that the honorable people are you, the electorate, not the members of parliament. You are the honorable member of the electorate. The member of parliament, the president, is your servant. They are meant to serve you. So how about you start exercising it and see how far it gets you as a Ugandan? But also the other take home is give Caesar what belongs to Caesar and God what belongs to God. Pay your taxes. Good morning. Up next is JMU Sports.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.